John DeLacio here. This is School of Ministry. Quack. Quack. I'll tell you where I got that from. Years ago, when I was an associate pastor from a thriving church and executive assistant to the pastor, I was in charge of a lot of different areas of ministry. One of them was counseling. And a lady came in for counseling, had a lot of problems. And she's sitting there and she was telling me about her ministry. While she was talking, I saw a large, fat, wobbling, look wounded, quack, quack, duck. Quack, 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 quack. It was large. And I'm talking to her, and God's given me word of knowledge. And I said to her, "Who's your pastor?" "Oh, I don't have any." "Who's your church?" I get a kick out of these people who act like they're so spiritual to me, and they tell me about the church they're going to. And I said, "Well, who's your pastor?" They can't remember his name. I get a kick out of that. But I said, "Who's your church?" "Don't have any." "Who's your pastor?" "Don't have any." And she's telling me about her ministry. And I'm thinking, And she's telling me about all her problems in her personal life. And I said to her, well, do you have fellowship, believers, and Christians? "Oh, yes." I said, "Why don't you have a church or a pastor connected to a ministry and with your ministry?" "Well, I've been very hurt in a church, and churches have very hurt me, and ministers have very hurt me, so I don't go to any church." And while she's talking, I see this big, fat, wounded-looking, wobbling duck, and leading, it was being followed by a lot of little ducks, baby little ducks, and they're wobbling behind this big, fat, wounded duck. And I says, "Oh," I says, "what do you do?" "Every Tuesday we meet." I said, "Who's we?" "Well, I have a lot of other friends, and they've been very hurt by churches and ministers and ministries also. So they don't go to another church either, but we need the fellowship. So every Tuesday we all meet and have a Bible study at my house." There's this big, fat, wobbling duck. All these little ones following it. And I said, "What are you showing me, Lord?" And this is what I believe God said. See, he talks to me in a language I could understand. He said, when you have a wounded duck ministering to other wounded ducks, all you're going to do is produce a bunch of quacks. Watch who's covering you get under. Watch who's ministering to you, especially in so-called prayer meetings. See, when you get in a prayer group, make sure they're under covering. It's talked about in the Bible when God said to Moses, when Joshua comes back thinking he defeated Amalek, I want you to remind him what the rest of us and the rest of you went through so he can go win the battle. Remind him, and because I'm going to introduce him to Jehovah Nissi, the Lord thy God, your banner, as a covering, a spiritual covering. This is not mine, this is my wife's. It feels more like Mary Poppins here, but this was the umbrella she had at the door there. A covering. Need a covering. Need a spiritual covering. It's for a defense. Jehovah Nissi. So it's not about control. It's about protection. 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 So that's what God said to me. When you have a wounded duck ministering to other wounded ducks, you will produce a bunch of quacks. So get under covering, the proper covering, get your ministry under covering, and stay protected. Stay protected. All right, so I love you. This is called Online School of Ministry. I hope you're a part of it. And if you want to know more about it, my email address is on your screen. Pastor John DeLacio at yahoo.com. I want to hear from you. And if these programs, whether you're part of our School of Ministry or not, if these videos and programs are blessing you, support the ministry. And get in on the blessing that way also. And get under God's cloud of protection concerning finances. I love you. We're out of time. Don't be a quack.
Don't stop, keep on doing what you're doing. You gotta keep moving. Don't stop, keep on doing what you're doing. You gotta keep moving. Don't stop, keep on doing what you're doing. You gotta keep moving. Don't stop, keep on doing what you're doing.